Do you ever notice how some people celebrate you and others, well, they shift in their seats when you succeed? Jealousy isn't loud, it's subtle. It's a shadow that follows success, whispering doubts and insecurities, not just in the jealous person's mind, but sometimes in ours too. Jealousy wears a mask. It doesn't always show up as an outright, I wish I had what you have. Instead, it can sound like, must be nice, or, I could do that too if I had the time. It's disguised as indifference, unnecessary criticism, or even exaggerated praise that doesn't quite feel right. It's that one person in the room who claps just a little too slowly when you share good news. Then there's the backhanded compliment, the kind that makes you tilt your head and think, wait, was that a compliment or an insult? It's the, wow, you're actually really good at this, or look at you, who would have thought? It's an attempt to shrink you while pretending to lift you up. And let's talk about imitation. Now, inspiration is beautiful. It's how we learn. But jealousy-driven imitation, that's different. It's when someone mirrors your every move, not out of admiration, but out of competition. It's when they don't want to learn with you, they want to outdo you. And if they can't, they'll pretend what you're doing isn't that special after all. Which brings me to the next sign diminishing your success. Instead of celebrating your hard work, they credit luck. They say things like, you're so lucky you got that opportunity, as if you didn't stay up late, push through doubt, and put in the effort. Then there's the silence. Ever share something exciting and get nothing? No reaction, no acknowledgement, just a shift in the energy. Or worse, a forced, oh, that's cool, before they change the subject. And on the flip side, some jealous people will swing the other way, becoming too friendly, overcompensating to hide their resentment. But here's the truth. Their jealousy isn't about you. It never was. It's about their own fear. Fear that they're not enough, fear that your success means their failure, fear that they've missed their chance. So what do? We don't shrink. We don't dim our light to make someone else comfortable. We keep shining, keep showing up, and keep growing. Because at the end of the day, someone else's jealousy isn't our burden to carry. And maybe, just maybe, their jealousy is the push they need to start believing in their own potential too. Jealousy is rarely obvious. It doesn't walk into the room announcing itself. Instead, it sneaks in quietly, slipping on different disguises: sarcasm, indifference, fake praise, unnecessary criticism. It rarely looks like what it is. That's what makes it so tricky to spot. Sometimes jealousy wears the mask of humor. You'll hear it in a joke that stings just a little too much. Oh, wow, look at you, all successful now. Don't forget us little people. It's said with a laugh, but something in the tone feels off. It's not just humor, it's a jab wrapped in a joke. Other times it shows up as indifference. You share something exciting, maybe a new job, a personal win, a dream finally coming true, and instead of celebrating with you, they barely acknowledge it. Oh, that's cool, they say, before quickly changing the subject. There's no curiosity, no follow-up questions, no, wow, tell me more. Instead, there's a quiet dismissal, a refusal to engage. And you're left feeling like maybe your excitement wasn't warranted in the first place. And then there's criticism, the kind that's disguised as helpful feedback. It's when you achieve something and suddenly they have a list of reasons why it's not that impressive. You start a business and they say, oh, but the market is really saturated right now. You get a promotion and they remind you how stressful that position is going to be. You hit a personal goal and they casually mention all the reasons why they wouldn't have done it that way. It's not just feedback, it's an attempt to shrink your moment. But here's the thing, jealousy isn't really about you, it's about them, their own insecurities, their own doubts, their own sense of inadequacy. When someone is jealous, what they're really saying is, your success reminds me of what I haven't done. But instead of sitting with that feeling, instead of turning it into inspiration, they turn it into resentment. And that's why jealousy hides. It doesn't want to be seen because deep down, even the person feeling it knows it's not about you. It never was. You've probably heard one before. Maybe you didn't even realize it at first. Someone smiles at you and says, wow, you're actually really good at this. And for a second, it feels like a compliment until that little word actually settles in. Or maybe it's, you look amazing. Did you lose weight? As if your worth was tied to your size all along. Backhanded compliments are one of the most common ways jealousy shows up. They are compliments in disguise, but hidden beneath them is doubt, condescension, or even resentment. They don't just celebrate you, they subtly remind you that they didn't expect you to succeed. How it works, the magic, or rather the damage of a backhanded compliment is that it forces you to second guess yourself. At first, it sounds like praise, but there's something about it that doesn't sit right. It's like receiving a beautifully wrapped gift only to open it and find something disappointing inside. You wonder, should I feel good about this? Or was there an insult buried in there? And that's exactly how a jealous person wants you to feel. They don't want to give you pure, unfiltered recognition. That would be too generous. Instead, they want to insert a little bit of doubt, a little bit of discomfort, just enough to make sure you don't feel too confident. Examples of backhanded compliments. You're so lucky, things just seem to work out for you. Translation, your success isn't because of your hard work, it's just luck. You're so brave for wearing that. Translation, I would never wear that, but good for you, I guess. Wow, you're so well spoken. Translation, I didn't expect you to sound so articulate. Must be nice to have so much free time to work on that. Translation, I think what you're doing isn't as important as what I'm doing. Why people give backhanded compliment at its core. A backhanded compliment is about power. It's about maintaining a sense of superiority even when faced with someone else's success. When a person feels threatened by you, whether it's because of your confidence, achievements, or even just your happiness, they may try to bring you down in a way that's socially acceptable. Instead of outright dismissing you, which would be obvious, they disguise their jealousy as praise. This way, if you call it out, they can always say, what? I was just giving you a compliment. They get to undermine you while still appearing supportive. How to handle backhanded compliments. Recognize them for what they are. The first step is to stop questioning yourself. If a compliment feels off, it probably is. Trust your gut. Don't give them the reaction they want. Jealous people want to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Don't let them. Instead of getting defensive, respond with confidence. If someone says, wow, you're actually good at this, just smile and say, I know, right? Call it out if you want to. You don't always have to confront it, but if you feel like setting a boundary, you can respond with something like, that's an interesting way to compliment someone. It lets them know you're aware of what they're doing. Move on. Some people will always find a way to make others feel small because they don't feel big enough themselves. That's not your problem. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep winning. Keep shining. You've probably heard the saying, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But let's be real. When someone is copying you, it doesn't always feel flattering. Sometimes it feels frustrating, unsettling, even a little bit off. Because deep down, you can tell the difference between someone who is inspired by you and someone who is trying to be you. The difference between inspiration and imitation, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by others. In fact, we all are. We see someone achieving something great and it motivates us. It reminds us of what's possible. That's inspiration. It fuels creativity, pushes us to grow, and helps us become better versions of ourselves. But imitation, that's different. Imitation isn't about growth, it's about competition. It's not about learning from you. It's about keeping up with you, or worse, trying to outshine you at your own game. Instead of developing their own voice, their own path, their own way of doing things, a jealous person will copy you step for step, your style, your ideas, even your personality traits, all while pretending they're not paying attention to you at all. Signs someone is imitating you out of jealousy. They suddenly have the same interests as you. You've been passionate about something for years. Maybe it's a hobby, a career path, a creative project. And out of nowhere, this person develops the exact same passion, and not in a natural, curious way. It's almost too sudden. They weren't interested before, but now that they see you excelling in it, they want in. They copy your style, mannerisms, or even the way you speak. Have you ever noticed someone start dressing like you, using the same phrases you use, or mirroring your energy? Inspiration happens gradually, but imitation often feels like a switch was flipped. One day they're themselves, and the next day they sound just like you. They take your ideas and present them as their own. Maybe you shared a creative idea with them, or maybe they saw something you posted online. Next thing you know, they're doing the exact same thing without giving you any credit, and when you bring it up, they act like it was their idea all along. They make it competitive instead of supportive. A truly inspired person will say, "Wow, you're amazing at this. I'd love to learn from you." But an imitator, they won't acknowledge that they're copying you. Instead, they'll try to prove that they can do it better than you. They'll enter the same spaces, chase the same opportunities, and act as if it was never your thing to begin with. They get defensive if you call it out. If you ever hint at the fact that they're mirroring you a little too much, they'll act offended. They'll say things like, "Oh, I didn't even notice we were doing the same thing," or "Wow, you think I'm copying you? That's crazy." Because admitting the truth would mean admitting to their jealousy. Why do jealous people imitate instead of innovate? At its core, imitation out of jealousy comes from a deep sense of insecurity. A person who copies you instead of being themselves is someone who doesn't feel confident in their own abilities, their own ideas, or their own uniqueness. Instead of putting in the work to discover what makes them special, they take the shortcut, copying someone who has already figured it out. But the problem with copying is that it's never genuine. No matter how hard someone tries to mimic you, they can never fully be you. They can wear the same clothes, pursue the same goals, even adopt the same personality traits, but at the end of the day, it won't feel authentic because it's not. How to deal with a jealous copycat: don't let it distract you. It's easy to feel frustrated when someone is mirroring everything you do, but the truth is, their focus is on you. And that's already a win. While they're busy watching and copying, you're busy growing. Keep your energy on your own path, not on theirs. Stay one step ahead. The thing about imitation is that it's always one step behind. If you keep evolving, keep leveling up, and keep pushing forward, they'll always be playing catch up. They can copy what you've already done, but they can't predict what you're going to do next. Take it as a compliment, even when it's annoying. If someone is copying you, it means you're doing something worth noticing. It means you've created something valuable, something desirable, something that stands out. Instead of feeling annoyed, remind yourself you are the original. Set boundaries if necessary. If the imitation becomes too much, if it's affecting your work, your personal space, or your mental peace, it's okay to distance yourself. Sometimes the best way to deal with a jealous copycat is to remove their access to you. Stop sharing ideas with them. Stop giving them a front row seat to your journey. Remember, no one can replicate your essence. At the end of the day, imitation can only go so far. Your creativity, your energy, your authenticity, that's something that can't be copied. A copy will always be just that, a copy. But you're the original, you're the blueprint. And That's something no one can take away from you. You've worked hard, you've put in the effort, stayed up late, pushed past doubt, and finally, you achieve something meaningful. You land the job, get the promotion, hit a personal milestone, or turn a dream into reality. You expect the people around you to celebrate with you, and some do. But then there are the others, the ones who react in a way that leaves you feeling less than. Instead of cheering you on, they say things like, wow, must be nice to have connection. I mean, I could do that too if I had the time. It's not that big of a deal. People do this all the time. You just got lucky. At first, you might brush it off. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. Maybe you're overthinking. But deep down, you know their words weren't neutral. They were meant to take something from you, not in an obvious way, not in an aggressive way, but in a way that leaves a small crack in your confidence. That's what jealousy does. It doesn't always attack directly. Sometimes it just plants doubt. Why do people diminish others' success? At its core, diminishing someone else's success comes from insecurity. People who are confident in themselves don't feel the need to downplay others. But when someone is struggling with their own self-worth, seeing someone else win can feel like a personal loss. So instead of admitting, I feel insecure because I haven't reached my own goals yet, they take a shortcut. They try to make your success seem smaller, because if it's small, if it's not a big deal, then they don't have to feel bad about not achieving it themselves. It's not really about you. It never was. Ways people diminish your success. 1, they credit luck instead of hard work. Ever shared a big win only to hear, wow, you're so lucky? At first it might sound harmless, but if you listen closely, you'll realize that it completely dismisses your effort. Luck might play a small role in life, but success, that's built on work. The late nights, the sacrifices, the times you doubted yourself but pushed through anyway. But instead of acknowledging all of that, a jealous person will say, you just got lucky, because it's easier than admitting you earned it. 2, they downplay the difficulty when you accomplish something significant. A jealous person won't be impressed. They'll act like it wasn't that hard to begin with. They'll say things like, oh, anyone could do that. I mean, it's not that impressive. I thought it would be way harder than that. They want to make sure you don't feel too good about what you've done, because if they admit it was hard, then they have to admit they haven't done it. 3, they compare your success to their own or others. Ever notice how some people can't let you have your moment? You tell them about your big achievement, and instead of celebrating, they instantly shift the conversation to themselves. Oh, you got a promotion? That reminds me of when I got mine. It was even harder because you started a business? Yeah, my cousin did that too, but on a much bigger scale. You bought a house? Well, the market is crazy right now, so it's not really the best time. It's not an accident. It's a way to make sure your moment doesn't shine too brightly. They don't want to acknowledge what you've done, so they try to overshadow it. They find flaws in your achievement. A jealous person will look for anything to criticize. They can't celebrate your success as it is, so they find ways to poke holes in it. Yeah, but do you really think you can keep up with that promotion? It sounds really stressful. That's cool, but is it really what you want to do for the rest of your life? I mean, your business is doing well now, but what if the economy crashes? It's not about helping you, it's about making you second guess yourself. 5, they stay silent or change the subject. Sometimes jealousy isn't in words, it's in absence. You share your excitement, and instead of engaging, they give you nothing. No congratulations, no questions, no reaction, just a quick topic change. Because acknowledging your success would mean facing their own feelings of inadequacy, and they're not ready to do that. How to handle people who diminish your success. 1, don't shrink to make others comfortable. One of the biggest mistakes we make is shrinking when people make us feel like we're too much. We downplay our own achievements, soften our excitement, make ourselves smaller so others don't feel uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Your success isn't too big, their confidence is too small. You don't have to dim your light just because someone else isn't ready to shine. 2, recognize that it's their issue, not yours. When someone minimizes your success, it says nothing about you and everything about them. Their reaction is a reflection of their own insecurities, their own self-doubt, their own fear that they're not doing enough. It has nothing to do with you. So don't take it personally. Keep celebrating yourself even when others won't. 3, surround yourself with supportive people. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. If you find that certain people constantly downplay your wins, maybe it's time to stop inviting them to the celebration. The right people will uplift you. They'll clap for you when you succeed. They won't see your success as a threat. They'll see it as proof that big things are possible. Find those people, keep those people close. 4. Keep succeeding anyway. At the end of the day, the best way to handle people who diminish your success is simple. Keep succeeding anyway. Keep setting goals. Keep breaking barriers. Keep growing. Keep proving to yourself, not to them, that you deserve the life you're building, because no matter how much someone tries to minimize your success, they can't take it away from you. And deep down, they know that too. Jealousy doesn't always look like eye rolls or backhanded compliments. Sometimes it's quieter. Sometimes it's an awkward silence where there should be celebration, and other times it's an over-the-top friendliness that feels just a little too forced, like someone trying too hard to prove something. Jealousy has 2 faces. One is cold and distant, pulling away when you succeed. The other is warm and overly enthusiastic, masking resentment with exaggerated support. And the tricky part, both can leave you feeling off, but not always sure why. Let's talk about what these reactions really mean and how to handle them. 1. The silent treatment, when jealousy disguises itself as indifference, you achieve something big. Maybe it's a personal milestone, a career breakthrough, or even just a small win that matters to you. You share your excitement, expecting at least a congratulations, but instead silence. No text, no comment, no reaction. And when you see them next, they act like you never even mentioned it. It's not that they didn't hear you. They did. They just don't want to acknowledge it. Why do people give the silent treatment? At its core, the silent treatment is about avoidance. When someone is jealous, your success can feel like a mirror reflecting their own insecurities. Instead of facing that discomfort, they withdraw. If they don't acknowledge your success, they don't have to feel like they're falling behind. If they don't celebrate you, they don't have to deal with their own feelings of inadequacy. If they ignore your achievement, they can pretend it doesn't exist, so it doesn't challenge their own sense of worth. It's easier for them to stay silent than to admit they feel envious. As signs of the silent treatment, they stop responding to your messages after you share good news. They change the subject when you bring up your success. They suddenly become too busy to hang out. They interact with you less on social media, especially when it comes to your accomplishments. They don't ask follow-up questions, even when you know they heard about your success. And here's the thing, their silence is intentional. They want you to notice their lack of reaction. It's a passive-aggressive way of making you feel unsure about your own success, like maybe it's not that exciting after all. How to handle the silent treatment? Don't chase their validation. If someone refuses to celebrate with you, that's their choice. But it doesn't make your success any less valid. You don't need their approval to be proud of yourself. Call it out if you want to. If this is someone close to you, you might want to address it directly. A simple, "Hey, I noticed you haven't really said much about your achievement. Is everything okay?" can be enough to bring the tension to light. Surround yourself with people who do celebrate you. Not everyone is capable of being happy for others, and that's not your burden to carry. Spend time with the people who lift you up, not the ones who go quiet when you shine. 2, over-friendliness when jealousy puts on a smile. On the opposite end of the spectrum, some people don't go silent when they're jealous. Instead, they do the exact opposite. They become overly friendly, overly supportive, overly invested. And at first it seems great. You're thinking, wow, they're really happy for me. But then something feels off. Their compliments sound just a little too exaggerated. Their excitement feels almost forced. And something inside you whispers, this doesn't feel real. Why do people act over-friendly when they're jealous? Some people are self-aware enough to know that their jealousy shouldn't be obvious. They don't want to seem bitter or insecure, so instead of ignoring you, they overcompensate. It's their way of covering up their real feelings. They don't want to be seen as the jealous type, so they act extra excited for you. They don't want you to think they're threatened, so they become overly involved in your success. They don't want anyone to suspect their true emotions, so they perform their happiness instead of genuinely feeling it. It's not about you, it's about protecting their own image. Signs of over-friendliness due to jealousy, their praise feels exaggerated, almost too much. They suddenly take a big interest in everything you do, even if they never cared before. They try to be part of your success story, positioning themselves as someone who helped or inspired you. They get overly competitive, masking it as motivation or friendly rivalry. They compliment you, but there's an undertone like they're subtly trying to keep you in check. Examples of over-friendly jealousy, oh my gosh, you're successful now. Don't forget about us little people. Sounds supportive, but subtly makes you feel guilty for growing. Wow, I always knew you'd do something cool. Eventually pretending they saw your potential before you even did. I'm so happy for you. I mean, I'd love to do something like that too, but life, making your success about them and why they haven't achieved it yet. It's like they're playing a role, the supportive friend, but underneath, there's a tension they're trying to hide. How to handle over-friendly jealousy, trust your gut. If someone's excitement feels fake, it probably is. You're not being paranoid, your intuition is picking up on subtle social cues. Don't feel guilty for your success. Sometimes over-friendliness comes with guilt tripping. Don't let that make you shrink yourself. You're allowed to be proud. Keep some distance if necessary. If someone's energy feels off, you don't have to let them too close to your success. You can be kind without giving them full access to your journey. Watch for underlying competition. If their support comes with comparison or subtle digs, be mindful. Sometimes over-friendliness is just disguised rivalry. Final thoughts, recognizing jealousy for what it is. Jealousy doesn't always show up as obvious negativity. Sometimes it's silent, other times it's too loud, but both reactions come from the same place, insecurity. The most important thing to remember, your success is yours. No one else's reactions can take it away from you. Some people will celebrate with you. Others will struggle with their own emotions. That's not your burden to carry. Keep shining, keep growing, and let people reveal themselves in their own time. Jealousy isn't really about you. It feels personal, it looks personal, but at its core, it's not. It's about them, their fear, their self-doubt, their insecurities. When someone is jealous of you, what they're really struggling with is themselves. They see your success, your growth, your confidence, and instead of celebrating it, they feel threatened by it. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because your progress shines a light on the places in their own life where they feel stuck. It's easier to resent someone else's success than to confront your own fears. And that's exactly what jealousy does. It disguises fear as criticism, withdrawal, or passive-aggressive behavior. Let's unpack this further. The fear beneath the jealousy. When someone is jealous of you, it usually means one of three things. They're afraid they're not good enough. They're afraid of being left behind. They're afraid they'll never reach their own potential. And rather than dealing with those fears, they project them onto you. 1. The fear of not being good enough. At its core, jealousy often comes from comparison. Someone looks at what you've achieved and measures it against themselves, but instead of feeling inspired, they feel less than. If you succeed, does that mean they've failed? If you grow, does that mean they've been stagnant? If you're capable, does that mean they aren't? This is a scarcity mindset at play, the belief that there's only so much success, happiness, or opportunity to go around. In their mind, Your win means there's less left for them. So instead of seeing you as proof that success is possible, they see you as a reminder of what they haven't done. And that can be painful. How it shows up in jealousy, they downplay your achievements. It's not that impressive. They act like your success was easy. Must be nice to have connections. They find ways to critique you instead of celebrate you. What they're really thinking: if they did it, why haven't I? What if I never will? 2, the fear of being left behind. Not all jealousy comes from competition. Sometimes it comes from fear of change. When you grow, people around you have to adjust. Maybe you're moving to a new city, stepping into a new career, or just leveling up in life. And for some people, that's scary, not because they don't want good things for you, but because it forces them to question where they stand. If you're evolving and they're staying the same, does that mean you'll outgrow them? Will your relationship change? Will you still have things in common? People don't always know how to handle that uncertainty. Instead of expressing their fears directly, jealousy creeps in as resentment or withdrawal. How it shows up in jealousy: they act distant or uninterested in your success. They make subtle comments about you changing. You're different now. They guilt trip you for growing. Don't forget where you came from, what they're really thinking if they move forward. Where does that where? 3, the fear of never reaching their own potential. The hardest truth about jealousy: